Hi, here's our argumentative video essay by Pablo Jose Córdoba, Ricardo Riaño, Nicolas Sáenz, and Jerónimo Lapada. Our quote is, yes, people of Hiroshima died mainly in the atomic bombing, believing that it was the emperor's sake. John Hersey. This quote tells us how the people of Hiroshima died. For you to know, the Hiroshima bomb occurred the 6th of August of 1945, and around 100,000 died due to this attack. The countries that were involved in this attack were USA and Japan. The leader of USA was Harry S. Truman, was the 33rd president of the United States, serving from 1945 to 1953. As president, Truman oversaw the end of World War II, including the dropping of atomic bombs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. He also helped rebuild Europe after the war through the Marshall Plan and played a key role in the formation of the United Nations. The Japan leader was Michinomiya Hirohito, was the emperor of Japan from 1926 until his death in 1989. Hirohito's reign was a turbulent period in Japanese history, marked by Japan's involvement in the World War II and its eventual defeat. Hirohito was closely involved in the decision-making process leading up to Japan's entry into the World War II, and was criticized for his role in the war crimes committed by Japanese forces during the conflict. After Japan surrendered in 1945, Hirohito renounced his divine status and coopered with the Allied occupation of Japan, helping to guide the country through a difficult period of reconstruction and modernization. Taking into account the information that was mentioned before, we propose the following thesis statement. The book Hiroshima, written by John Hersey, highlights the challenge of civil responsibility in the aftermath of a man-made catastrophe. Weapons of mass destruction demonstrate how countries, governments, and corporations violate ethically and moral considerations.
In this part, we are going to talk about the role of USA and how they prioritize their self-interest and when they put the bomb of Hiroshima. First of all, for nobody is a secret that USA put the bomb of Hiroshima because they prioritize their self-interests. We put an article a CNN article in which they mentioned that USA put the bomb of Hiroshima due to the attack that they suffered years ago in Pearl Harbor. So basically, they do that because they want to put another attack in Japan. USA as a whole country had civil responsibility in the Hiroshima bomb because they were responsible for the life of all Japanese people that were innocent, and also they have civil responsibility because they use nuclear bombs, and that's a complete violation of the life of people. To the That's a complete violation to what to the uh, right of living. For you to know the impact that Hiroshima bomb had on the society, it is estimated that around 100,000 people died in this attack, and also we can mention that the people who survived had radiation effects, burns, cancer, and other very big injuries that they still suffer at the moment, or they suffer at that time. A USA statement states that because they put the bomb because they want to save the life of many people and end the war. Everybody knows that the war can be solved by in a different way, and not by putting a bomb and killing many people that were innocent, and many people that had a job, many people that had a family, sons, etc. And at the end, to conclude, we put the following quote that was mentioned by the by the president of USA days after the disaster. I open quotes. We using it to shorten the agony of war, to save the lives of thousands and thousands of young men. Thank you.
Okay, so after presenting all the previous ideas, we go to the next stage, that is the counter argument, that is in favor of the dropping the Hiroshima bomb. We took these ideas from the article named "Why was dropping the bomb on Hiroshima good?" So this article argues that dropping the bomb on Hiroshima was a good decision because it saved lives and forced Japan to surrender. So, according to the article, Japan was unlikely to surrender. So the use of the atomic bomb, stopped the war, and even let it avoid the deaths of many civilian and military in the next periods of times. So also this article states that the use of the atomic bomb was justified because Japan had committed very, very terrible war crimes and actions, such as the initial conflict of Pearl Harbor with the United States, or the war crimes of the prisoners that Japan had. So also we can say, based on this article, that the decision of dropping the bomb on Japan was not taken lightly. Instead, was managed with a very careful consideration and all the consequences of the dropping of the Hiroshima bomb. So we can argue. We can counter-argue this idea of the article with all the previous ideas we told before. For example, firstly, we can say that the atomic bomb was not necessary to end the war of Japan, because the United States previously blockaded Japanese ports, crippling the Japan economy, and the Soviet Union declared the war to Japan. So Japan was very, very weak in the military capabilities, and we can say, in base of that the atomic bomb was unnecessary and a very excessive act. So also we can argue that the atomic bomb saving lives is very questionable, because the atomic bomb was a massive weapon of destruction that killed nearly 200,000 people that were mostly civilians, and those who survived the next days died from long-term health effects from the radiation. So moreover, we can also state that the Japan's actions justify the use of the atomic bomb is very problematic, because it is important to remember that the majority of the people that die were civilians and people that were not involved with the decision making of their government. So we can say that the civilians that died were victims of the war crimes from the United States. So we're gonna end this part of the counter-argument with a quote that says, "We used it to shorten the agony of war, to save the lives of thousands and thousands of young men."
Well, to conclude, taking into account what we mentioned before, we restate our thesis statement, and now is this is the new thesis statement. The book Hiroshima, written by John Hershey, shows the severe responsibility in a man-made disaster and shows how does USA use weapons of mass destruction, and also how does this country violate the ethical and moral codes to prioritize their self-interest. For you to know, through our argumentative video essay, you can find several facts that were very important that we want you to know. The first one is in the first argument that shows how does USA violate the human rights of all Japanese people that were innocent. The second one is you can see how does the survivor people were affected due to the Hiroshima bomb by having long-term diseases. Also, in the second argument, you can see how does USA prioritize their self-interest by putting the bomb, and finally, you can see how the position that USA showed to the people after putting the bomb, and we put it for you to know and confront different points of view and different positions. Now to finish, we have the following quote that is. What has kept the world safe from the bomb since 1945 has not been deterrence, in the sense of fear-specific weapons, so much as it has been memory. The memory will happen at Hiroshima. John Hershey.